A busy morning out here at Rosehill for the Trackwork show today. We have all the latest from the stables and then we head across to the barrier draw ahead of what is a big week. Of course, the Golden Slipper highlights the card of 5 Group 1s. All the latest here for Trackwork. All right, Sterling, beautiful morning. It's Golden Slipper week. You guys have a big week ahead. So we'll start with how Skyhook's come through his run on the weekend.
Surprisingly, really well. Probably of our 4 runners Saturday, they all performed well. He probably come through at the best. So it's augurs well for this week. Hopefully he has a trouble-free week.
So what's he done since he won on Saturday?
He just had a walk Sunday morning, had a light morning on the treadmill yesterday, just trotted a lap, Canada lap this morning. So he's pretty naturally athletic horse. He won't take a lot of work. We'll just see whether we need to do something with him Thursday or Friday morning before Slipper Day. But no, really happy with where he's at.
Did you feel the hot weather too much there on Saturday?
Probably more so pre-race than post-race. He just got a bit warm and uptight in the mountain yard, but that could have possibly been first-time home track as well as the weather.
So you're really happy with how he's come through. So this morning, all systems go?
Yeah, no, can't fault him. Our sort of vets went over him Sunday morning. We're really happy with him. Racing New South Wales had their vets go over him yesterday, and really happy with him.
King of Pop, who we last saw when he won the Black Opal, how's he been since then?
Terrific. He was pretty dynamic there at Canberra the other day. He come through it really well. He's loves his feed. He's a real tough customer, and his work here this morning was as good as you'll see going into a 2-year-old feature. So he's spot on where we need him, and expect a really bold showing from him on Saturday.
Now we just have to wait for the barriers, don't we?
That's it. I think it's going to play a big part this year. It does look a pretty even bunch on paper, and I think this morning's going to decide a few fates for people.
How's Eagle Nest pulled up? Will she maybe back up this week?
Look, we're giving consideration to it. We backed her up once before, and she ran second in the stakes race at Hawkesbury. So, a record at 1100 at Rosehill's pretty good. And if she doesn't run Saturday, she'll go out to Newgate to get prepped for the Chairman's Sale anyway. So we'll just see how she does the next couple of days, accept and make up our minds later in the week.
And one of my favourites, Sanctified, has he come through his run in the Black Opal? We were talking about how probably he'll just get better, obviously being by Super Seth even into his 3-year-old career, but it seems like he's doing a lot on ability at the moment.
He is. He's racing really well. He's probably not sort of an unnatural 2-year-old per se, but the 3-week gap from Canberra to the Ballier will really suit him. He only had a really light week last week. Looking forward to getting him out to 7 and seeing if that's sort of his go or not. But he'll acquit himself really well, and he seems to be improving every time he steps out. So I think it could not be a bad addition to the Ballier this year, but expect him to run well next week.
You drawing this morning?
No. I've learned from the past. Offload that to someone else.
Well, Ben, let's look ahead to this weekend of racing, and we'll start with Golden Path. He's nommed for the Randbet this weekend. We, of course, saw what he did there last start in the Very Elegant. How did he come through that run? Did it tough out in front?
Yeah, he obviously had quite a tough run. He was bowling along in front, but one thing that he did do was find a really nice rhythm. So he wasn't necessarily bolting on Tommy or anything like that. He found a nice rhythm, which helped him finish off the race and only be beaten 2 lengths by the class of horse that is Via Sistina and the likes. So he came through the run well. He gets 3 weeks between runs now, which that's his sweet spot. He had 2 weeks between his first 2 runs. Now he gets 3 weeks, and he hasn't put a foot wrong. So we're going to have a throw at the stumps at the Randbet. Obviously, we're going to come up against a very short price favourite in Via Sistina, and she's the pinnacle of our quality of horse in Australia at the moment. So, you've got to be in it to win it, but he's got a tough ask trying to beat her.
And what work did he do this morning?
He had his main piece of work on Saturday morning on the course proper, which was a really nice piece of work. Just worked over 7 furlongs, improving the last 600. He's very much a staying sort of worker. He just improves every furlong rather than sit there and really quicken in one sectional. So this morning he just had a maintenance piece of work over 1,200 metres, improving the last 400 under a tight hold. And Timmy, who rides him, very complimentary of his work. But when you come up against a horse like Via Sistina, it's always a tough task.
Outback Miss in the Birthday Card Stakes, coming out of a run there in the Winona Girl, where she was a bit of an eye-catcher.
Yeah, she was terrific. First go at stakes grade for a long time, and I thought she acquitted herself really well. She drew a tough draw where she was bailed away on the fence, but she was able to take a sit and once she did sort of move the two proven thoroughbred horses out of the way, because the gap wasn't really there, but she just got her nose in there the right time. It was a very brave ride from Tyler Schiller and also a brave run from the horse to move them out of the way, but Commemorative already had her momentum up by then and had gone well past our horse. But once she did get out, she savaged the line and really ran through the line, so 1200 big tick there, and she meets the same sort of field again on Saturday. So hopefully we draw a nice gate where we hopefully can sit one off the fence, but I'm sure wherever she lands in the run, she's got the attributes to be able to create her own space, create her own runs and really savage the line. So she hasn't gone backwards at all, so we're excited to see what she does again.
Really interesting runner, Lostochka. We've been practicing that name this morning. Of course, she ran in a Melbourne Cup in 2023 and then she had quite a while off the scene, and she's come back this preparation. She resumed there. She had a freshen, and then she's had over 2,000 metres where she ran behind Al Kantz. Why did she have so long off?
So she ran in a Melbourne Cup 2 years ago, and she actually pulled up with inflammation to both front tendons. She didn't actually do either tendon. She just had damage to her tendon fibres. So we actually thought that European style of horse, they are prone to having tendon injuries when they come over here. We rehabbed her like she had done a tendon just to strengthen those tendons up. So she was off the scene a long time. She went over to Adelaide to do that, and then she came back and we had a long, slow build-up, and unfortunately she then had a colic attack, which was not ideal coming off the rehab that she had done. So then she got opened up and had to have surgery on that, and then thankfully we haven't had any complications since that. So she had a couple of runs this time in. She was a little bit disappointing last start, but she's a true staying sort of horse. She probably wants a bit of cut in the ground as well. So we were purchasing her for a Melbourne Cup, so 2,000 metres is still short of her best, but we're hoping to see an improved performance on Saturday.
It's a long road back, isn't it, when they've had injuries like that, and it just takes time.
Yeah, it sure does, and she's a horse with an abundance of quality about her. She's only small, but what she was able to do in France before we purchased her, we have full interest in rehabbing these horses and trying to get them back, and they'll tell us if they want to do it. And the main thing is the horse is happy and the horse is healthy. So she's given us all those signs. That's why she's back at the races, and hopefully we've got an improved run on Saturday.
Now I need to ask you about public attention. He of course ran over in the Kiwi in New Zealand, and he's since come back. What's he been up to and what's the plan?
Yeah, he had a bit of a tired run in the Kiwi. He was driven forward and then sort of took a sit, and a couple of mixed messages to a young horse. I don't think he got it totally right, and then he was bumped from pillar to post down the straight. So it was a race that we definitely thought could knock him around, and when he got back to us on the Monday morning after the race, he flew back Sunday night, got back here Monday morning, and then just took him up the highway to Mount White, Coolmore's spelling farm, and he's just had probably 7 or 8 days to himself there just to relax and recoup. And we had our queries on this horse getting a mile last preparation, and we probably have tested him again at a mile, and he's probably just telling us that he doesn't quite get a mile. So he's going to have a nice space between runs, and he's going to be seen next probably in the Arrowfield Sprint at the end of the carnival, drop back to 1,200 metres.
Righto, Cav, you got your coffee. You're all set for the draw. How's your filly?
She's really good. This was a target race. We didn't change plans. We stayed to the Magic Night. I was pretty close to hitting the button and going to the Black Opal to make it a good thing. But we just played the game, and she ran super on Saturday. And lo and behold, she's first emergency.
And how has she come through Saturday?
Really good. Actually, Georgie told me to get away from me yesterday. She was doing handsprings in the box, and I'm going, woo, so she put a scatter in the barn. She went home on Saturday night, had a swim Sunday morning, was put a scatter in the barn on the way going back in. So yeah, she's spot on, ready to go.
And obviously it's a huge feat to even get her to this point. What's the journey been like so far with her?
I only ever wanted to win 2 races as a kid at TJ's, was a Doncaster or a Slipper. And to get this far, it's really good.
And let's talk about the Doncaster then, because you scratched Williamsburg from the weekend, scratched him out of a trial. He'll go to the Doncaster Prelude now?
He'll go to the Prelude. Is he a Group 1 horse? I'm not sure, but it'll be just good to kick him off. We dodged Saturday because of the firm track. He doesn't need a bog, but we believe that he needs to get his toe in the ground, and there's so much racing between now and the end of winter that'll suit him, so we just didn't want to waste a run on a hard track.
And young Braith Knock will be aboard the filly if she gets a run, first emergency.
Oh, look, what do? They're on the way up. He'll try, as hard as anyone. He'll take gaps. He's been schooling up down here for 3 months with success, so rewards.
Righto, Ben, well, you've probably drawn the short straw today. You've got to have a chat to us and you've got to draw Mahuna's barrier. She gets in, so we've been touch and go all week about whether she'd get a run or not, trying to work it out, but she's made the field.
Yeah, the stable's very happy to hear that she's made the field. It's great for Emirates Park, who are big supporters of the stable. So, yeah, we're very happy to have her in the field. She definitely deserves to be there. And, yeah, fingers crossed.
And you've been happy with her since her last run?
Yeah, her run in the Riesling sort of speaks for her. It speaks for itself. She was extremely tough, and the way she was able to continue to find the line and was very impressive. So, since then, she's pulled up great. Her work at home has been excellent. So we couldn't be happier with the way she's sort of coming into the slipper this weekend.
There's only one more step now, and that's to draw a good gate.
Well, that's it. Pressure's on. So fingers crossed, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
And I'll just touch on a couple of your other runners. Time to Boogie possibly will back up this weekend?
Yeah, potentially. He's nommed for the Galaxy. He's come through his run on Saturday well. So at the moment, we'll just see how he draws and how he sort of continues to work through the week. But yeah. At the moment, all indications is he's very well, so yeah, we'll see how we go.
And we'll perhaps see enriched as well in the Derby Munro?
Yeah, correct. He's pulled up from his last win, excellent, worked well this morning, so yeah, all indications is he'll be there on the weekend as well.
Well, good luck, pressure's on.
Thank you.
Henry, quietly arrogant. Geez, he was an eye-catcher last start. You've had a chat to Tommy Berry, his jockey this morning, who rode him. What was his report?
Yeah, he said he worked very well this morning, sat off an older horse and was far the better in the gallop. It was a great run on the Skyline. He was held up, as was Skyhook, and that form was franked on Saturday. So we feel confident about him that he'll run a good race Saturday.
Was he a horse that you've always had an opinion of? We saw him at the really early 2-year-old trial, so he obviously put his hand up early.
Yeah, even though he's by Capitalist, he was kind of immature and he's only really filling into his frame now. So he's a much more furnished and mature horse now than he was before the Magic Millions. He ran really well in the Magic Millions. And the feeling with Peter and the camp is that the horse has just progressed and furnished the whole time. So I think he'll be competitive on Saturday. It's a big step up, but he's a horse, any time you've got a 2-year-old on an upward spiral, it's a positive thing.
I really enjoy seeing them come on even when they have their little breaks between preparations and how they have furnished, and he's one who's just filled out into his frame. He's a tank now.
Yeah, he's a big, beautiful, gorgeous horse that's really filled into himself. And yeah, timing's so important with 2-year-olds, as we all know, and the timing feels right for him. I know he's a big price, but I think he can run better than the price he is in the market.
And it's obviously a busy morning for you because you also have North England. I thought when I saw him in the yard the other day, he had that little bit of improvement to come, and you touch on how it's important to get 2-year-olds at the right time. He should be peaking for this weekend's slipper.
Well, that's the hope. Certainly it was well documented that he missed the silver slipper. His blood count wasn't right. He had a little bit of a virus. So he missed a week of work, and that had him going into the Todman, probably not 100%, but the run on the Todman really tightened him up. Adrian is thrilled with how he's progressed. They're a great stable to train a Golden Step winner, and the horse seems to be absolute peak physically. So, yeah, we're hoping that he'll go into the race on Saturday, be very competitive.
And he's another one, early doors. I remember seeing him at the first 2-year-old trials, and when we looked at those Farnans and how they were coming through, was he one that you'd had an opinion of from the start?
Yeah, he was certainly beating every horse up in the jump outs there at the stable, and he was very dominant in the early trials. He was very unlucky not to win the Breeders' Plate. And he won the Golden Gift. So his pre-Christmas form was excellent. Obviously, the one run post-Christmas, and that was in the Todman, where he wasn't beaten far, and he wasn't beaten far, and he missed a bit of work. So, I think he really is lining up to peak on Slipper Day, and I think that if he can run to his best, he'll make his presence count.
Jason, we are pre-barrier draw, so it's hard to preempt what will happen, obviously, from this point on. But how have both your 2-year-olds come through their runs a couple of weeks ago? We'll start with Tempted. She was fantastic.
Yeah, she was great. And James has put them through their paces this morning at Osborne Park and was very pleased with their gallop. So, look, all systems a go ahead of the weekend.
And Bivakt, a similar story. You're really happy with how he's come through the run. He probably had a tougher run up on speed.
He did, yeah. It's important for him that he can execute well. We've seen what he did Silver Slipper Day when he does that, and either side of that he's disappointed us, but he continues to train well. One comment James makes is that how tough he is, so he's bounced out of that run, and if he can put it all together on the weekend, there's no reason he can't reverse his form.
And we'll touch on Tom Kitten, of course. He was a winner of the All-Star Mile. Tom, finally. He's been teasing us for a while. How's he travelled to Sydney?
He'll come up tomorrow night, so he's had a very pleasing gallop this morning at Flemington. He might go to the beach down there, and as you say, he's cemented himself now as a weight for age prospect, and we're excited to give him his chance in some features in Sydney.
And broadsiding all on track for the Rosehill Guineas this weekend?
Yeah, very much so. We were pleased with his run, disappointed to be beaten, but the winner's a horse at that stable have held in high regard for some time, so we look forward to stepping him up to 2,000 metres. We're very pleased with how he's been training, and we expect him to be very hard to beat again.
I remember Jamie Carr got off him after the Cox Plate and said he'll win next year, so we always thought he'd probably improve as well, didn't we, once he got out into different preparations?
Yeah, we're excited about giving him the chance again. A couple of times the time that we have tested him, obviously in a Cox Plate against older horses, gives him the chance this weekend to do it against his own age, and we think he'll be very hard to beat.